Hello YouTube world, Todd from Great Escape Farms here. This is the third week in February 2017 and I'm finally going to get my seeds into the ground. I'm running a couple weeks late this year. So I have a new seed tray here from Walmart. I have 3 of these new ones and that should get me by for today. When I get into the March plantings, I have some older ones from last year. I can recycle them and I will recycle them. I'll have to clean them up with a water and bleach solution, but that will be another video. So for today, I'm going to use a couple of new trays. And what I do with my seeds is I have a Folgers coffee can here, an old one. This is plastic with a sealable lid on it. And I mark the seeds on it, or mark the name on it. So this one is seeds February. Also have seeds March, April, and May. And I also have one labeled as Stratify, and I actually took the Stratify out last week and I soaked them in water and then I put them in the refrigerator for stratification. So that's what that is. So what I'm going to do today is I have these empty cells here. I am going to take that bucket, grab some organic soil out of here, and I will fill each one of these up. I will label this, and I'll show you this once I get to it. And then I will take the seeds out of here, and I have plant in February inside and plant mid-February inside. Because I'm running late, I'll actually do both of these tonight. And I have a couple others I've added this year, as well as, let me pull this one up here. So this one is Miner's lettuce from 2013. You'll see there's a couple seeds left here. So I harvested that from a previous year. So I will put the soil in and then I will read the directions if they have it, and the planting directions. And generally, as a rule, if there aren't directions, and on some plants there aren't, you plant a seed as deep as it is wide or big. So if it's a pea that is a 1/4 inch around, you plant it a 1/4 inch deep, unless it states otherwise. So I think peas and beans generally go down an inch or so. So if it doesn't have directions, plant it as deep as the seed itself is. Tripod. So I have the soil here. I had talked to you about the seeds and the fact that I have them labeled right here and I keep them sealed. The reason I do that is seeds like it cool, they like it dark, and they like it dry. So by having this sealed, that takes care of the darkness to a point, and it takes care of the dry as long as I put them away dry. And the cool part, I keep them in another part of the basement where it's cool and also where it's quite dark. As far as my pots here, you can see that is 21-1. And on this end, it is 21-12. So what I do is I have 21-1, and that's this whole row here is 21-1, and then 21-2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that is 21-12. So I have 6 in each row that I'll put in, and 6 just works for me. And what I do is I write down 21-1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 21-12. And that's going to be stevia. And I am planting it onto 2317. And here is my stevia right here. This particular one needs to be surface sown. So let's see. The reason I started with 21 is last year I started with 1 and I went up to, I can't remember, it was 12 or 13. So it's just easier for me to start with 21. I will go back and when I reuse and clean the other trays, I'll start with 1. But it doesn't matter what number I start with, as long as it's numbered and I have a sheet of paper that I can coordinate it with, and so that I know what is growing in each row. Worst thing to have happen is to let's get seeds mixed or not write them down or something, and you have stuff and you really don't know what it is. Then you don't know what to plant it next to, and it can just cause lots of issues. So, okay, so I've already labeled these. I've also already pulled them out and broken them up. Usually they come glued together a little bit, if you will. So there are 4 individual ones, and when you get the kit, it has a clear top. We'll set that aside for later. And what I have here now is a tray. So I'm just going to take this tray and I am going to grab a handful out of here. I'm just going to start laying it on. The reason that I have the tray underneath is just to catch any excess that falls off there. And I will go like that. So I'm not pushing hard. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have a big void in the trays here. If you push it hard, then you're going to end up with compacted soil, and that's not good for roots, especially young roots starting out. So push these in, again, not pushing hard. Break up any clumps. Okay, and then I just kind of wipe it all off. And that is one of my trays. I set that one aside, pull this one over, and I'll do that. And then after I have the 4 of them, I'll go ahead and take the excess dirt, pour it back in the bucket or into the bag, and I'll go ahead and start planting. So let me go ahead and finish up with these, then I'll be putting on the tripod while I plant seeds and show you how I do that. Okay, so I got all the soil in, and one of the things you got to make sure you do before you actually start putting seeds in is make sure you get them in the right spot. So I have 21-1 here, 21-1 here, 21-12 down at the end on both. So that way I know that they are exactly where I label them. First one we're going to do is the stevia, and the directions for stevia are to lay the seeds. They get surface sown because they need light. Oh. Kind of dump it out, it's in a plastic one. They need light to germinate. So what we're going to do is just lay the seeds right on the top. So I have one. So I'll put that in the first spot. 5th, 6th, and then I'll just see if I can get the rest out of here because I don't have enough for next year. So I'll finish those up. Okay, and then what you do, because these need to be surface sown, is you just take and you press them in a little bit. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not burying them or anything else. I just lay them on top, make sure I didn't pull any seeds up with my finger. Okay, so that is it for stevia. In spot number 2, and I've already marked it on I've already labeled it, I'm going to put in a sweet pepper. These are called quadrato. And these need to go in 1/4 inch. So what I do, and I don't get precise, I just go down, I eyeball about what 1/4 inch is. I just kind of use a pencil, go around with a circle there, and I drop 1 or 2 seeds in, usually 2. If the seed I'm dealing with is older, then I'll put more seeds in. If it's newer, and these are newer seeds, I'll just put maximum of 2 in some cases 1 would work, because usually you get pretty good germination the first year. It's as years go on where the germination rates go down a little. Okay, a couple of extra seeds, put them back in here. So what I do now is, they were in 1/4 inch, I cover them up and tap them down just a little bit, and that's it. So we have rows 1 and 2 done. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 through 12, and then we will come back and show you how to water them and show you a little bit more about the system here. Okay guys, we're back here. So I have all 12 planted, all 12 are labeled here. And what I've done now is I still have my plants in a container here, and in an empty one, I have enough spares laying around now. I went ahead and I put some water in here. And what I want to do is water these from the bottom up. So there's holes in the bottom here, and if I just drop these in where the water is, what will happen is the water will wick up into the dirt, and that way it doesn't mess with the seeds, and when we actually get plants growing, it doesn't cause an issue with the plants, because watering from the top will cause issues. So this is very good soil here. I mean, these 2 have already sucked it up. This one has got it, and I can see it's starting to come up here. So it's that quick. Once it gets down a little low, or after a couple of weeks of doing this, it takes a little bit longer for it to wick up. So these are I'm gonna let this one come up just a little bit more here. And then what I'll do is I'll pull it out, I'll hold it up for just a minute, and I'll move it back in here. And then that's it. We just put it under the plant light, and I'll show you the plant light in a second here. So, okay, so they are all nice and moist. And I don't know if you can see the moistness, but what I'm looking for is kind of a shininess. It just looks wet on the top. So I'll drain these off, put them right back in. And there's no holes in the bottom here, so if I get a little bit of water on the bottom, it's not going to leak all over the place on me. Okay, shake that off just a little bit. There we go. And then what I'll do is I will actually put this lid on here for the first week. And what that does is it keeps it humid. I probably won't have to water these things with the lid on for 3 or 4 days at least, even though I'm in a very dry area, just because this keeps the humidity on. And under the grow light, I will actually probably should have some plants starting to germinate here within just a couple of days. Okay, so the seedlings that we just put in the ground, they're right here or in the pots. So let me back up here a little bit and show you what I have. So what I have is up here on top is a grow light, and this is a hydroplanet, and I'll do a product review on that. So it comes up, it has a cord that comes back, and ultimately it comes to this timer right here, and it's just your everyday ordinary household timer. And I have it set to come on at 6 a.m. and it shuts off between 9 and 10 p.m. So the clock isn't set right because this is the first time that's been plugged in, but for this year. But I'll go ahead and set the time right, and that way it automatically comes on. I just need to check it every couple of days, make sure that there's no issues. I will ultimately have this table will be pretty much full here, as will the table back behind. Now I have an older system here with just old shop lights, and what I got was full spectrum lights. They're special lights. Let me see if you can see the label here. No, you can't really see the label there, but it's full spectrum lights. You can get them from Amazon. It's almost a little bit cheaper to go this way, or at least it seems like it initially, but you have to put these things like just inches away from the plant. So if you notice, I have chains up here, and I can lower it and lay it right on top of the plants, and then as the plants grow, I can raise it up. I also have chains here, but these, just lots of extra light bulbs and a mirror that kind of points down. And I will lower it a little bit. Right now it's up just so I can work, but I don't need it as low as the other type there. So these lights are wonderful. So anyhow, I will, let's see, this is mid-February. My last frost date is somewhere between the 3rd week in April and the 2nd week in May. I'll have to double check, but none of these plants will go out before my last frost date. Usually I wait about a week afterwards, and I will go ahead and move them out. So I will eventually have tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of stuff in here. And like I say, this table will be full here, and I will actually fertilize it after they have been up. What I do is I wait until after when they come up, they have one set of leaves. After they get a 2nd or a 3rd set of leaves on them, then I'll start fertilizing them. And what I do is I would just put some organic fertilizer in here in the water and kind of mix it, and again, let it wick up. I will do that for the duration of these guys in here. I don't want to get the actual leaves themselves wet. And then I will harden them off before they actually go outside and get planted in the ground. So I think I previously did a video on hardening off. If I didn't, I will do another one again this year, so you can see exactly what that is. Hardening off is basically you take it out for an hour the first day, maybe 2 hours second day, 4 hours the third day, and more and more sunshine, and you take them out and then you bring them back in. And because if you just take plants that are under grow light and you put them outside and just leave them there, they will actually get burned from the actual sun, as well as issues with the wind and everything else going on. So hardening off is just getting them used to the outdoors. So that is it for this video. If I missed anything, I will include it in the show notes. If you have any questions, please go ahead and comment. I've been getting some good feedback on every once in a while I miss something, and if you have a question, somebody else probably does, so please go ahead and ask, and I'll watch the comments pretty close. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. So please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and also check out our blog post at greatescapefarms.com. Thank you very much and have a great day.